I'm Elaine Jagelski. The world of relationships, how we approach them, is shifting. Not necessarily in leaps and bounds, but it does seem to be occurring bit by bit. And in the traditional approach, what would occur is that there was the idea of you are responsible for making me happy. So you need to engage in ways that don't trigger me, that make me happy, that don't make me mad, or whatever the case might be. And even if we look at the language of how we talk about our relationship with the other person is, you make me happy, you make me sad, you make me angry. And so in all of those statements, the responsibility for how you feel is somehow up to the other person. And so that whole approach of you need to act in a way, whatever it is, to make me feel a certain way isn't satisfying for most people. And more people are becoming aware of the fact that this isn't working to the full extent that they would like. And so within that, it's up to each individual to potentially take a look at, why am I giving responsibility? Why am I, that old saying, but it still holds true, giving my power to someone else to be somehow in control of my feelings? And so to take a look at, in your own language, are you saying things like, I want to find someone to make me happy? Or if there is someone, you make me happy, or you make me mad? Whatever it might be, then to perhaps take a look at that and go, well, why am I abdicating myself? Why am I giving responsibility to someone else for how I'm feeling? And so it's very empowering when you can then take a look at yourself and go, how do I be happy? Or how do I allow myself to be happy? Or if I get mad, can I take responsibility that I chose to respond that way? And I know people will often argue and go, yeah, but what they did was reprehensible, or it was horrible, or it was, and that's not to deny that they behaved the way they did. They did what they did. The big question is always, why did you have that experience? So what was it that was resonant, right? Why are you resonating with that particular frequency to have that kind of experience? And it's not a self-blame thing. It's an awareness thing. It's to go, oh, okay, I don't like that experience. So what can I do differently? Or what am I withholding from myself that I'm expecting this other person to provide for me? And the other person, they have their own agenda. They have their own needs, their own wants. And so to a certain extent, it may seem very fickle in regard to consistently providing you with what you need, what you want, based on how you want to feel. And so again, to take a look at, all right, well, what can I change then? How can I, again, that concept of take my power back, empower myself to know that I'm responsible for how I feel, for how I respond, for how I choose to behave. And when a person does that, then the interactions with another tend to be much more satisfying, because then you're sharing more fully each of who you are. And that space, the resonance of that space, typically feels very good, very fulfilling. Now, it's not to say that when there is a challenge with someone, then it's a bad thing, and you haven't done the whole empowerment thing, or however you choose to look at it. What it can indicate as part of that process is where you need to look at things in your own life, as far as Where are you not giving to yourself? Or maybe where have you betrayed yourself? Or where have you not chosen to trust yourself? Or where have you abandoned or rejected yourself or your thoughts or your ideas or whatever it may be in some way? So it's not always a straightforward, oh, here, just do this. This is what it means. But it is an opportunity to explore and to become more aware of who you are. What do you want? And again, to empower yourself, to know that you're the one that makes the choices and you're responsible for how you feel. Because in each moment, you have that opportunity to choose, how do I want to respond to that? As was said before, it's a little bit more complex than that because we all tend to have triggers, and we have triggers based on our experiences. We have belief systems that we get to have an opportunity to look at when these situations arise. But it doesn't have to be this arduous, really challenging approach in order for that to occur. When these things come up, it's to look at them as objectively as possible to see what's the message. What can I take from this? Because my higher self is assisting me, as is this other person, per some agreement that may be not in my conscious awareness, that may be taking place on all those other multidimensional levels, because you are a multidimensional being, to allow me to grow, to expand, and to evolve. And so to do your best not to judge yourself or the other person, and to be taking a look at how are you approaching how you feel and how you want to feel.